here. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you for your patience.
We're going to talk about Blind Odyssey. This is our title tonight. And Blind Odyssey is our life journey. And you're going to see a little bit about our universe in the next few minutes and how we've managed to navigate through all the challenges that we faced along the way.
You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. That's a quote by Zig Ziglar, not me. And what we mean is that, come on, is there a perfect moment to start something new? Of course not. It's more about taking the decision to enter the unknown with the belief that there is a very good reason why new opportunities or challenges may arise. Our journey has been like a self-discovery quest in constant search of new beginnings, new status quo, like
Legally blind.
Or entrepreneur versus employee, or even joining performance sports in adulthood.
Well, the price of the prize. Even though the topic is more than inviting, when you have too many things to choose from, it becomes a real struggle, but in the most wonderful way. We are Irina and Silvia, and we were identical twins back in the days in appearance, not anymore, and a yin and yang team in essence. As children, we started on the same path as every other child, having fun, always having fun actually, attending the same schools, but most importantly, sharing the same genetic condition, which left us with less than 1% vision today.
Talking about childhood really takes us back. It's like a time-traveling vortex, if you want. Happily rejoining those unforgettable moments, like the smell of Mom's homemade cookies and cakes, the Saturday evening French fries while watching Maddie and David. It was a cool series back in the 90s that, of course, you don't know about. After endless hours of playing outdoors with friends, something, again, not very common these days, laughing our heads off when pranking Mom all the time in complicity with Dad for all of that. We would go back being children in a flash.
It's about that immense joy of being just a kid with not a care in the world. However, there is something we shared as well, as I've mentioned before. We have shared the same genetic combination that made us so truly unique today, but gradually made us to lose our sight. Little did we know what the future had in store for us, or just how important that 1% would be in the present day.
And just to give you an idea about what and how much we are seeing right now, it's like a thick white fog with millions of lights going on and off and on and off, leaving us with no shapes to distinguish, no faces to see, and still there is not one single moment of pitch black space. I guess we can say there is always light in the dark, guys.
And I will not call it a price when we talk about what it took to get us where we are today, but more of a fair exchange, conscious or unconscious, one relatively reported to the universal laws. When reaching 24, we have embarked on a self-belief journey to defy our disability. Little did we know that to overcome it, we would first have to embrace it.
And we were lucky enough to have attended mainstream education, and that gave us the right setup to grow and develop in the same way as our peers in society. We never imagined that our career choices and experiences will change, so dramatically over a short period of time, mostly due to our progressing condition.
However, as stereotypical as it might sound, it's good for you guys to understand that back in the day, Even though we were students at a prestigious university, we faced discrimination at its worst during our final exam. Getting through uni was a similar experience as any other student wearing glasses. But during the last year, losing our dad triggered an emotional shock which led to losing more than 80% of what was left in our visual capacity in less than a month.
The truth is that we were so focused on studying for the public administration degree that we never thought that actually people can treat us so differently, showing us such a lack of empathy and understanding of our special needs. So here we were in the final exam, having already asked the unit to allow us to take the exam in a larger font format. Well, guess what? We couldn't read. We couldn't see the pages. We couldn't read it, not even if they would have projected it on a wall, because the condition kicked in and the stress, and we ended up spending, I think it was more than half of the exam, doing absolutely nothing apart from staring at the apparently white pages.
So we got an idea. We asked for 2 assistants to read the question for us individually so we can stand a real chance of passing the exam. And you know what their answer was? Well, you would disturb the other colleagues, but we can give you the last 10 to 15 minutes. They had 3 hours, and we had only 15 minutes. It seems unreal, isn't it? And just because there wasn't a procedure in place or a precedent, one can say we were pioneers in a bittersweet milestone. We still believe to this an absolute miracle to have passed it, but we did.
As a trend, many in our generation back then took a different path from the one of their university qualification. And, of course, we were 2 of them, but not by choice, more pushed into this foggy, unknown industry that Silvia is going to tell you more about. Because, of course, as fresh graduates, we started applying for jobs. And I think it was the very first brutal interaction with the label of disabled. Not organizations, not necessarily considering our skills, but seeing only our disability.
What option did we have except to take control on our destiny and to become entrepreneur of a beauty business, actually the first hair spa in Romania? We invested all our money, efforts, time, and a few years later, in the context of the economic crisis of 2008 and 2009, the business collapsed. It was a very hard decision to close it and again start fresh, having earned the skills and qualifications for massage therapy, which, by the way, we sworn we'll never do. Because if you see a visually impaired or a blind person, usually you think, well, for sure he has to do massage. Because this is how it works in Romania, not abroad. And we swore we'll never do it, but guess what? We did.
Never say never.
Never say never.
I guess with every decision we took, it was much more about the journey than it was about the destination, primarily because, and not because we were wise back then, we were quite young, but come on, let's face it, you take on a huge responsibility to reach the final objective, that goal. Well, what happens if you don't reach that goal? Many are calling it a failure, and some, like us, however clichéing that might sound, will say what doesn't break you does make you stronger.
Because there is a higher meaning in not achieving that goal that gives you strength to face the so-called failure, to learn from it, and to have faith in what your instincts are telling you. In fairness, the highest price we paid was losing the ability to see like everybody else does.
However, that always pushed us to want more, to become more, to reach that impossible. And for that, we paid with time, with family moments often missed. But looking back with this, we would do it all over again in a flash, because it became part of our mission to impact and positively change as many lives as possible.
Long story short, we realized we have a degree that will no longer serve us. So we became massage therapists, and we closed that business. This is a typical example of lacking business skills and improvising to the best of your abilities. You can do more than that, but you have to try.
You can't be expected to be someone you're not, obviously. You can improvise by creatively using your endowed skills and gain abilities. However, that experience left us with valuable knowledge and an occupation that gave us professional satisfaction, fulfillment, and last but not least, financial independence.
Life took its course, and 9 years later, we switched careers completely, our careers completely. Irina became the first visually impaired broker in Romania. I became a salesperson and an NGO program manager later on. Both professions we had zero experience in. I guess we can say that our journey is very much about new beginnings. It's about having the courage to discover what are you capable of and to jump into the unknown only with the firm belief that something amazing can come out of it.
In parallel, we became inspirational speakers and ambassadors of our community, lobbying for a better society where everybody feels free to be whoever they want to be, where empathy is not a requirement, but a genuine feeling. The more we allowed ourselves to contribute and experience, more opportunities came along. And once working on the right mindset, something that we both advise you to invest time and focus in, guys, unreal dreams started to come true.
You know, when you have that strong belief, you remember that evergreen question. So, what would you like to be when you grow up? And I remembered, I knew since I was a little girl, I wanted to be on TV, to have my own show, to do amazing things. And a few years back, I remembered that dream, and I started to focus on it, really focus on it. And you know what? The universe answered back.
Silvia's determination and call to action, purely call to action, led to us having a documentary done inspired by our lives in our 40s called When the Colors Went Silent, about who we are and how our disability became an ability. A movie that hopefully will inspire people to change perspective and give courage and a voice to all the special people out there.
And there are no coincidences in life. The documentary reached the Paralympic archery coach, and he approached us with a proposal to become professional athletes and perform in the World Championship. Wow, that was, wow. How could we say no? How? But it took a lot of commitment. We couldn't say instantly, yes, we're going to do it. We needed time to think. It was something brand new in our life. It was a challenge, actually a big challenge. But we said yes, and it was the best decision we took.
So our latest achievement, basically, is to become Paralympic archers in the Romanian national team, in a sport that is so much more than that. It's an art with ancient roots that ultimately gave us the opportunity to perform in the World Championship in July last year. So We started training in April, and obviously several months later, here we are. It really felt truly like a dream. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity you don't want to miss. To be offered the chance to experience world-class competition, especially considering we were in our 40s.
And it took a lot of hard work, resources, time, but it was all worth it. Being there in Pilsen with participants from all over the globe, we've realized that only 14 blind colleagues were competing, and we were lucky enough to be 2 of them.
And no, we didn't bring any medals back. I mean, come on,
Not
we're
yet.
good, but not that good. But having the courage and actually the honor to be the very first blind Romanian archers representing Romania in the World Cup, it's a greater achievement, and we couldn't be more proud and grateful for that.
To have people believing in us against all odds is a reward that cannot be quantified. We build our life and we live that life, grounding ourselves in our core values. There are minuses and pluses. There are good and bad aspects. But be sure that life is what you make of it. To quote someone famous, life is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get. And for all the things we have lived and achieved so far, you see, the price becomes irrelevant.
Because if you're true to yourself, you remain the